June stepped off the space shuttle. It was his first time leaving Earth. At 45 years old, he never thought he would travel to the stars. But here he was on Nexus 7, the biggest space station in the galaxy. "Welcome, Master June," said a young man waiting at the gate. "I am Taehyun. I will be your guide and translator." June bowed slightly. "Thank you, Taehyun. It is good to meet someone from home. My parents were from Korea, like you," Taehyun explained. "But I was born here, among the stars." They walked through the station. Aliens of all shapes and sizes moved around them. Some had blue skin. Others had 4 arms or 3 eyes. Many stared at June. Humans were rare out here. "Why do they stare?" June asked. Taehyun looked uncomfortable. They think humans are primitive. We don't have the advanced technology that other species have." June nodded. He understood. Earth had only joined the galactic community 30 years ago. Other species have been traveling the stars for thousands of years. "The martial arts conference begins tomorrow," Taehyun said. "But tonight, there is a welcome party. Many important people will be there." "I did not come for parties," June said. "I came to show the true meaning of martial arts." Taehyun smiled. "I know, but the Dominion Alliance invited you as a curiosity. They want to see human fighting techniques." That night, the party was held in a large room with glass walls. Through the glass, they could see the stars and distant planets. June wore his simple white training clothes. Everyone else wore fancy outfits or had shiny tech attached to their bodies. "That's the human fighter," a tall blue alien asked loudly. "Where are his weapons? His armor?" "Humans don't use much tech," another alien replied. "They fight with their bare hands. Primitive, but interesting to watch." Jun heard them, but said nothing. He had faced such attitudes before. Actions would speak louder than words. A large alien approached Jun. He had red skin and muscles bigger than any humans. A small crowd followed him. "You are the human fighter?" the red alien asked. Jun nodded. "I am Jun. I teach martial arts on Earth." The red alien laughed. "I am Rock, champion of the Cronin fighting pits. Your martial arts are toys compared to real combat." The crowd watched with interest. They could feel the challenge in Rock's words. "Perhaps," Jun said calmly. "Each person has their own path." Rock seemed angry at Jun's calm response. "Show us these human skills. Let's have a small demonstration." "This is a party, not a fighting area," Jun said. "Afraid?" Rock taunted. He was trying to make Jun angry. "No," Jun replied. "Just respectful of our hosts." The host of the party, a tall green alien, stepped forward. "A small demonstration would be entertaining. We can clear this area." People moved back, making a circle. Rock stepped into the center and motioned for Jun to join him. "Just a friendly match," Rock said, but his eyes told a different story. Jun stepped forward. He stood relaxed, hands at his sides. "Begin," someone called. Rock moved fast for his size. His huge fist flew toward Jun's face. But Jun wasn't there anymore. With a movement too quick for most eyes to follow, Jun had stepped aside. His hand touched Rock's arm lightly. Somehow, this small touch sent Rock crashing to the floor. The room went silent. Sensors around the room tried to record what had happened, but most failed. Jun's movements had been too fast and subtle for their programming. Rock got up, his face dark with anger. "What trick was that?" "No trick," Jun said quietly. "Just the redirection of energy. Your own strength defeated you." The party guests whispered among themselves. This was not what they had expected from a primitive human. Jun bowed to Rock, then to the host. "Thank you for the welcome. I look forward to tomorrow's demonstration." As Jun left the party, the eyes that followed him now held something new. Respect, and a hint of fear. The next morning, Jun woke up early. He stretched his arms and began his daily routine. For 50 years, he had done the same moves every day. These simple moves kept him strong. Word of his victory over Rock had spread fast. The halls buzzed with talk about the human who beat an alien champion without weapons. June did not care for fame. He only wanted to show the true spirit of martial arts. As June practiced his forms in the visitor's garden, he felt eyes on him. He turned to see a tall, slim alien woman watching him. "I am Sunmi," she said, bowing slightly. "I work as the chief combat analyst for the Dominion." June returned the bow. "I am June. Nice to meet you." Sunmi held up a small device. "May I scan your movements? Your fighting style is puzzling to our computers." June nodded and continued his practice. Sunmi's device hummed as it recorded his every move. After an hour, Sunmi looked confused. "This makes no sense," she said. "Our eye says your moves should not work, yet they do." June smiled. "Martial arts is not just about the body. It is about the mind and spirit too." "Spirit?" Sunmi looked even more confused. "Our sensors cannot detect this spirit." "That is why your machines cannot understand," Jun said. He picked up a leaf that had fallen from a tree. "Look at this leaf. Science can tell you its parts, but can it tell you its beauty?" On the other side of the station, 3 figures met in a dark room. They wore black uniforms with a red symbol, a claw holding a star. "The human fighter is perfect for our needs," said the leader, a bulky alien named Quan. "His fighting style follows rules our scientists can use." "But how do we get him?" asked another. "He is watched closely now." Quan smiled, showing sharp teeth. "The tournament. We will make sure he joins. Then we will take him." These 3 were part of the Harbinger Syndicate, a group that made living weapons. They wanted to study Jun and use his skills to make better weapons. Meanwhile, Taeyun found Jun in the garden with Sunmi. "Master Jun, you've become famous overnight," Taeyun said. 6 news channels want to talk to you." Jun shook his head. "I did not come here for fame." "There's more," Taeyun said, his face serious. "The Dominion is planning a special tournament. They want you to join." "I am a teacher, not a fighter," Jun said. "I came to show, not to compete." Taehyun lowered his voice. "I've heard rumors. Bad people are interested in you now. The tournament would keep you safe. You would be under official protection." Before Jun could answer, his wrist device beeped. A message appeared. "To you are an int, ion." As they walked back to Jun's room, they didn't notice the small drone following them. It belonged to the Harbinger Syndicate. It recorded everything they said. That night, Jun sat in quiet thought. He had spent his life teaching that fighting was the last choice, not the first. Now he was being asked to fight for show. A knock came at his door. It was Taehyun with a worried look. "Master, I found something you should know," he said, showing Jun his tablet. "The Harbinger Syndicate has people inside the tournament committee. They're dangerous. They make living weapons and sell them." Jun looked at the information. "And you think they want me?" Taehyun nodded. "Your fighting style is unlike anything in the galaxy. They want to study you." Jun took a deep breath. Sometimes the path of peace required one to face conflict. "I will join the tournament," he said at last. Taehyun looked relieved. "I'll help you prepare. Before I became a diplomat, I studied martial arts too." As they talked about the tournament, neither knew that the real danger was just beginning. The main hall of the Nexus 7 space station was filled with aliens of all shapes and sizes. Bright lights shone down on a stage where a tall blue alien stood. He wore the gold uniform of the Dominion Alliance. "Welcome, fighters and fans," the blue alien said. "We are proud to announce a special tournament. The best fighters from across the galaxy will compete for glory." Screens around the hall showed the faces of famous fighters. To Jun's surprise, his face appeared among them. "Why is my face there?" Jun asked Taehyun. "I have not agreed to fight." Taehyun looked worried. "They're moving fast. They really want you in this tournament." After the announcement, a Dominion official walked up to June. The alien handed him a gold card. "This is your official invitation," the official said. "The tournament begins in 3 days." June looked at the card, but did not take it. "I came to share knowledge, not to fight for show." The official seemed confused. "But this is a great honor. Many fighters wish for this chance." "I must think about it," Jum said. Later, in a quiet corner of the station's garden, Jum sat with Tae-yun. "Master Jun, I've been looking into the tournament," Tae-yun said. "I found something strange." Tae-yun showed Jun his tablet. 3 of the tournament officials joined just last week. They all worked for companies owned by the Harbinger Syndicate. Jun's face grew serious. "The weapon makers you told me about?" "Yes. If you don't join the tournament, you won't have official protection. They might try to take you anyway," Tae-yun explained. "But if you're in the tournament, you'll be guarded and watched at all times." Jun closed his eyes to think. After a long moment, he nodded. "I will join. But not for glory or prizes. I will join to show the true path of martial arts." The next day, Jun went to the tournament office to sign up. The room was busy with fighters from many worlds. Some had metal parts. Others had extra arms or strange weapons. As Jun filled out his forms, a voice spoke behind him. "So you're the human everyone is talking about." Jun turned to see a tall man with dark hair. He looked mostly human but had golden eyes that seemed to glow. "I am Do-yun," the man said. "Half human, half Alturian. I work security here." Jun bowed slightly. "I am Jun." Do-yun lowered his voice. "Be careful. Not everyone here wants a fair fight. Some see humans as a threat." "A threat?" Jun asked. "Humans have the least advanced technology of any species here." Do-yun smiled. "That's why you scare them. You don't rely on tech. You rely on yourself. They don't understand that." Before Jun could answer, a loud crash came from across the room. 2 alien fighters were arguing. One had flipped over a table. "Duty calls," Do-yun said with a sigh. "Stay safe, Master Jun. I'll see you at the orientation tomorrow." As Do-yun walked away, Jun felt someone watching him. He looked around and saw Sunmi, the combat analyst, taking notes on her tablet. When she saw him looking, she quickly turned away. That night, Jun practiced his forms in his room. He moved slowly, focusing on his breathing. "I did not come here to fight," he said to himself. "But sometimes the path chooses us." His wrist device beeped. A message appeared. "Tournament orientation. Tomorrow, 9 o'clock, main arena. All fighters must attend." Jun looked out his window at the stars. Earth was just a tiny dot from here. He wondered what his students back home would think. Would they understand his choice to join this tournament? "The path of peace sometimes requires us to face conflict," Jun said to himself, repeating the words he had taught for decades. Tomorrow, the real challenge would begin. The main arena was huge. It could hold 10,000 people. Today, every seat was full. Beings from all over the galaxy had come to watch the tournament. Jun sat in the fighters' area. Around him, other fighters checked their weapons and tech. Jun simply breathed slowly and cleared his mind. A loud voice boomed through the arena. "Welcome to the first round of the Galactic Combat Tournament." The crowd roared with excitement. Screens lit up with the day's matches. Jun saw his name paired with Garam, a fighter from the Mech World system. First match, Jun of Earth versus Garam of Mech World. Jun walked to the center of the arena. From the other side came a figure that was half man, half machine. Garam had metal arms and legs. His eyes glowed blue computer eyes that could track movement in slow motion. "This will be quick, human," Garam said. His voice had a metallic sound. "My systems can predict your moves before you make them." Jun bowed but said nothing. A beam of light formed a circle around them. The match had begun. Garam moved first. He was fast, faster than any human could be. His metal fist flew toward Jun's face. But Jun wasn't there. He had shifted slightly, and Garam's fist hit only air. The crowd gasped. Garam looked confused. He struck again and again, each time faster. Each time, Jun moved just enough to avoid the hit. "Stand still," Garam yelled in frustration. In the stands, Sumi watched with great interest. Her scanners were recording everything. "How is he doing that?" asked another analyst next to her. "He's changing his rhythm," Sumi said. "The prediction systems need patterns. The human doesn't use patterns." Back in the arena, Garan was getting angry. His attacks became wild and strong. "Now," Jun said quietly. As Garan threw a powerful punch, Jun finally moved toward him, not away. He slipped past the metal arm and placed his hand on Garam's chest. With a gentle push that looked like nothing, Garam flew backwards and hit the ground hard. The arena went silent. Garam tried to get up but couldn't. His systems had shut down. "Winner, Jun of Earth," the announcer said, sounding surprised. The crowd cheered, louder than before. Back in the fighters area, Tae-yun handed Jun some water. "That was amazing," Tae-yun said. "You barely touched him." "It's not about strength," Jun explained. "It's about energy flow." His own force defeated him. A tournament official approached. "Your next match is in 2 hours. Your opponent is Minja." Jun nodded and returned to his breathing exercises. 2 hours later, Jun faced his second opponent. Minja looked like a normal human but had special powers. He could control gravity in small areas. As soon as the match began, Jun felt heavy. His body was being pulled down by extra gravity. "Let's see you dodge when you can barely move," Minja said with a smile. The crowd watched as Jun struggled to stand straight. But then, something changed. Jun's movements became smooth, like flowing water. "He's using waterform techniques," Tae-hyun told Do-yun, who had come to watch. "It's designed for moving against resistance." Minja looked worried. He increased the gravity, but Jun kept moving. Each step was careful and controlled. When Jun got close, Minja created a gravity wall between them. But Jun had trained for this too. He had practiced fighting underwater for years. With a smooth motion, Jun moved around the gravity wall and touched Minja on the neck. Minja fell unconscious instantly. "Winner, Jun of Earth." This time, the crowd roared with excitement. Some aliens were taking notes. Others were recording the match. As Jun left the arena, Sumi approached him. "Master Jun, may I speak with you?" she asked. "The Dominion is reassessing our understanding of human combat." Jun smiled. "Sometimes the oldest ways are the most powerful." "You've qualified for the quarterfinals tomorrow," Sumi said. "The opponents will be much more dangerous." "I'm not here for winning," Jun reminded her. "I'm here to show the true path of martial arts." As they talked, neither noticed the small drone following them, recording every word for the Harbinger Syndicate. After his matches, Jun was tired. He went back to his room to rest. The next day would bring harder fights. He needed to be ready. Jun sat on the floor in the middle of his room. He closed his eyes and began to meditate. His breathing slowed. His mind became clear. In this quiet state, he heard it. A soft sound, like air moving through a small space. Without opening his eyes, Jun rolled to the left. A dart hit the wall where his head had been. Jun jumped to his feet. The lights in his room suddenly went out. In the darkness, he could hear movement. 3, maybe 4 people were in the room with him. "The human can't see in the dark like we can," whispered a voice. Jun smiled. These attackers didn't know that martial arts training included fighting blind. He heard a rush of air as someone moved toward him. Jun stepped aside and stuck out his foot. His attacker tripped and crashed into a table. Another came from behind. Jun grabbed a pillow from his bed and swung it. The pillow hit the attacker in the face, surprising him. Jun then grabbed a lamp and pulled out its cord. He swung the cord like a whip and wrapped it around the third attacker's legs. With a quick pull, the attacker fell to the floor. The lights turned on. Do-hyun stood in the doorway, holding his security badge against the light panel. 4 aliens lay on the floor. They had gray skin and large eyes. 3 were knocked out. 1 was tied up with a lamp cord. "I was coming to check on you," Do-hyun said. "I heard noises." Station security arrived minutes later. They took the attackers away. Yubin, the head of security, came to talk to June. She was a short alien with spiky red hair. "These are Sind assassins," Yubin said, "bioengineered killers made by the Harbinger Syndicate." "Why would they want to kill me?" June asked. "They weren't trying to kill you," said Yubin. "One of them talked. They were trying to capture you. They want to study your fighting style, make new weapons based on it." Tae-hyun arrived, looking worried. "Master June, are you hurt?" "I am fine," June said calmly. "These attackers were not very skilled." Yubin looked surprised. "Not skilled? These are elite assassins. Most people can't even see them move." "They rely too much on their strengths," June explained. They didn't expect someone to fight without seeing. A tournament official joined them. "Master June, in light of this attack, we offer to remove you from the tournament. For your safety." June shook his head. "If I leave, they will just try again. Better to face this problem now." "I'll stay with him," Do-hyun offered. "Extra security." "Me too," said Tae-hyun. "Between matches, he won't be alone." Yubin nodded. "I'll put more guards around the arena and your room." After everyone left, Jun returned to his meditation. This time, Tae-hyun and Do-hyun stayed in the room, watching the door. "Master," Tae-hyun said softly, "those attackers were made to be perfect fighters. How did you beat them so easily?" Jun opened his eyes. "Perfect fighters? No, they were made to be perfect weapons." "There's a difference." "What difference?" asked Do-hyun. "A weapon only knows how to attack," Jun explained. "A true fighter knows how to adapt, how to listen, how to use the situation." These assassins were strong and fast, but not wise. Jun closed his eyes again. "Tomorrow will bring harder challenges. The Syndicate now knows their simple attacks won't work. They will try something else." Outside the station, a small ship floated in space. Inside, Kwon of the Harbinger Syndicate received the news of the failed attack. "The human is more skilled than we thought," said his assistant. Kwon smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "Good. That makes him even more valuable. Prepare the next phase. We will have him soon." The arena was even more crowded than before. News of the human martial artist had spread across the galaxy. Everyone wanted to see if Jun could keep winning. Jun sat quietly in the preparation room. Tae-hyun and Do-hyun stood nearby, watching for any signs of danger. "Your opponent today is Huck," Tae-hyun said. "He's from the Tauran species. They're known as warriors." Do-hyun looked worried. "Tauran fighters have never lost to a human before. They're 3 times stronger than us." Jun nodded but stayed calm. Strength is not everything. A loud bell rang. It was time for the match. Jun walked into the arena. Across from him stood Huck. The alien was tall and muscular, with thick red skin. His arms were as big as Jun's legs. "Human," Huck said in a deep voice. "Your tricks won't work on me. I studied your matches." Jun bowed respectfully. "I look forward to a good fight." The match began. Huck charged forward like a bull. His heavy steps shook the ground. He swung his massive fist at Jun's head. Jun didn't try to block. Instead, he moved with the punch, redirecting its force. Huck stumbled forward, surprised. "Stand and fight." Huck roared. In the stands, Sunny watched closely. "The human uses his opponent's strength against them," she explained to other officials. "It's a principle we don't see in modern combat." Back in the arena, Huck was getting angry. Each time he attacked, Jun seemed to flow around him like water. The human hadn't thrown a single punch yet. "Fight me," Huck demanded. "I am fighting," Jun said calmly. "Just not how you expect." Huck let out a roar and charged again. This time, he didn't aim for Jun. Instead, he slammed his fist into the ground. The entire arena shook. Jun lost his balance for a moment. Huck saw his chance. He grabbed Jun and lifted him high over his head. "Now I have you," Huck shouted. The crowd gasped. This seemed to be the end for the human. But Jun remained calm. As Huck prepared to throw him down, Jun pressed his fingers against a specific spot on Huck's arm. Suddenly, Huck's arms went numb. He dropped Jun, who landed lightly on his feet. "What did you do to me?" Huck asked in shock. "Pressure points," Jun explained. "Your body has weak spots, places where nerves and energy connect." Before Huck could respond, Jun moved forward. His hands touched Huck's chest, arms, and legs in a precise pattern. Each touch looked gentle, but Huck's body reacted. The giant alien fell to his knees, then collapsed to the ground. The arena went silent, then erupted in cheers. "Winner, Jun of Earth." Jun helped Huck back to his feet. "You fought well," Jun said. Huck looked confused but nodded with respect. In another part of the arena, the second semifinal match ended. The winner was Juan, a fighter who looked almost human. As Jun returned to the preparation room, Sumi rushed in. "Master Jun, I need to speak with you," she said urgently. "It's about Juan, your final opponent." "What about him?" asked Taeyun. Sumi looked around to make sure no one else could hear. "I was analyzing the fight data. Juan isn't normal. He has hidden enhancements, Harbinger Syndicate technology." "Is that against the rules?" Do-Yun asked. "Yes, but I found out too late to stop the match," Sumi said. "The final is scheduled for tomorrow morning." Jun remained calm. "Thank you for this information. I will prepare." After Sumi left, Taeyun looked worried. "Master, maybe we should withdraw. The Syndicate has rigged the final match." Jun shook his head. "This is why I am here, to show that true martial arts can overcome any technology." As they spoke, news screens around the station showed highlights of Jun's victory. The human martial artist had become the biggest story in the galaxy. Morning came too quickly. Jun had only a few hours before the final match. He sat in his room with Sumi, who showed him data on a screen. "This is Juan during his first match," Sumi said, pointing to a video. "And this is him yesterday." Jun could see the difference. Juan moved faster in the second video. His skin seemed to shimmer sometimes, like it wasn't quite real. "He has at least 3 types of enhancements," Sumi explained. "Muscle boosters, skin armor, and reflex enhancers, all hidden under his skin." "Can you prove this to the officials?" Taeyun asked. Sumi shook her head. "No, the scans are not clear enough, and some officials don't want to stop the match. It will bring too much attention to the tournament." Jun nodded. "So I must fight him as he is." "He's dangerous," Do-Yun warned. "Syndicate enhancements are not made for sport. They're made for killing." Jun stood up. "I need some time alone to think." The others left the room. Jun sat on the floor and closed his eyes. He thought about everything he had seen since coming to the station. After an hour, he called Sumi on his wrist device. "Can you show me records of other human martial artists who have fought in the galaxy?" he asked. Sumi looked surprised but nodded. "I'll bring what we have." Soon, Sumi returned with a datapad. "These are all the recorded matches with human martial artists in official tournaments." Jun watched video after video. He saw humans fighting aliens using different styles of martial arts. Some won. Many lost. But what struck him most was how the officials talked about the matches afterward. When humans won, the reports called it luck or a strange outcome. When humans lost, the reports said it was the expected result. "They never took us seriously," Jun said softly. "What do you mean?" asked Summi. Your people, Jun explained. You see our lack of technology as weakness, but you miss what makes humans strong. Jun stood up and started doing slow movements, a martial arts form that was thousands of years old. This form was created before humans had electricity, he said. We didn't have fancy tools. We had only our bodies and minds. So we learned to use them well. Summi watched with interest. Your style is beautiful, but will it be enough against Juwon's enhancements? I don't know, Jun admitted, but this match is more than just about winning now. What do you mean? Asked Taeyun, who had returned to the room. It's about showing the galaxy who humans really are, Jun said. Not just a species with simple technology, but one with deep wisdom and strength. Jun turned to Taeyun. Can you send a message to Earth? I want this final match to be seen by our people. Taeyun nodded. I'll arrange it. As the time for the match grew closer, Jun prepared himself. He did not train with weapons or practice attacks. Instead, he sat quietly, breathing slowly. Doyun watched him with confusion. Aren't you going to prepare for the fight? I am preparing, Jun said. The body follows the mind. If my mind is clear, my body will know what to do. Just then, Yubin, the head of security, entered the room. Master Jun, we've found evidence that the Harbinger Syndicate has people inside the arena. They might try something during the match. Can you stop them? Asked Taeyun. Yubin shook her head. Not all of them. There are too many. Jun stood up. Then we continue as planned. I will face Juwon in the arena. As he walked toward the door, Jun felt strangely calm. Whatever happened in the final match would change how the galaxy saw humans forever. The arena was packed. Every seat was filled. Billions more watched on screens across the galaxy. This was the most viewed sporting event in 5 years. Jun walked to the center of the fighting area. On the other side stood Jiwon. He looked calm and normal, but Jun knew better. Under that skin were hidden weapons and enhancements. Fighters ready, called the announcer. Jun bowed. Jiwon did not. Begin. Jiwon moved first. He was fast, much faster than in his earlier matches. His hand shot out toward Jun's chest. Jun dodged, but just barely. He could feel the air move as Jiwon's hand passed by. Not bad, human, Jiwon said with a smile. But I'm just warming up. Suddenly, Jiwon's skin began to change. Patches turned metallic. His fingers grew sharp points. His eyes glowed red. The crowd gasped. This was against the rules. Stop the match, yelled the chief official. Fighter Jiwon is using illegal enhancements. But at that moment, the doors to the arena slammed shut. Red lights flashed. The arena was in lockdown. What's happening? Taeyun asked Doyun in the stands. The Syndicate, Doyun replied. They've taken control of the arena systems. In the fighting area, Jiwon laughed. Now it's just you and me, human. No rules. No help. Jun remained calm. Rules or no rules, the fight is the same. Jiwon attacked again. This time, his arm transformed into a blade. He swung at Jun's head. Jun ducked under the blade and struck Jiwon's side with his palm. Jiwon barely felt it. My skin is armored, Jiwon boasted. You can't hurt me. In the control room, Summi and Yubin worked frantically to regain control of the arena. We need to stop this, Summi said. Jiwon is fully weaponized now. Keep working, Yubin replied. I'll send security to break down the doors. Back in the arena, Jun was on the defensive. Jiwon's attacks came faster and faster. Each time, Jun escaped by the smallest margin. A blade cut Jun's arm. Blood soaked his sleeve. First blood, Jiwon yelled. Soon it will be the last. The crowd watched in horror. Many had never seen a human bleed before. Jun touched his wound. He looked at the blood on his fingers. Then he did something strange. He smiled. Thank you, Jun said. For what? Juan asked, confused. For reminding me that I am human, Jun replied. We bleed. We feel pain. That is our strength, not our weakness. Jun's stance changed. He stood differently now. His breathing deepened. What are you doing? Juan demanded. Jun didn't answer. Instead, he moved forward. His movements were different now, smoother, more focused. Juan attacked with both arms, now turned into blades. Jun moved between them like smoke through fingers. Then Jun struck. His hand hit Juan's chest in exactly the right spot. Juan's left arm stopped working. What? Juan gasped. Your enhancements run on energy, Jun explained. Energy flows through paths, like rivers. I just blocked one path. Angry now, Juan attacked wildly. Jun moved around each attack. Each time Jun touched Juan, another enhancement stopped working. This is impossible, Juan shouted. Jun moved closer. No, this is what humans have done for thousands of years. We study, we learn, we adapt. With 5 quick strikes, Jun disabled the last of Juan's weapons. The alien fell to his knees, systems failing. Jun stood over him. He could deliver a final blow now. The crowd held their breath. Instead, Jun reached down and touched a spot on Juan's neck. The alien gasped as his systems reset. I did not come to kill, Jun said. I came to teach. At that moment, the arena doors opened. Security forces rushed in, but they were no longer needed. The fight was over. The human had won. 2 days after the final match, Jun sat in a large meeting room. Around him were officials from the Dominion Alliance. They looked at him with new eyes. Master Jun, said the lead official, we wish to formally apologize. We did not fully understand humans or their martial arts. Jun nodded but said nothing. The Harbinger Syndicate has been exposed. The official continued. We have arrested 23 of their agents, including Quan, their leader. Taehyun, who sat next to Jun, smiled. Justice is served. The official pushed a tablet toward Jun. We would like to offer you a position. You could train our security forces or be an ambassador for Earth. The pay would be very good. Jun looked at the tablet but did not touch it. Thank you, but I must decline. Decline? The official looked shocked. But this is a great honor. My place is on Earth, Jun explained. I have students there who need me. My path is to teach, not to work for governments. The officials whispered among themselves. They had not expected this answer. Sunmi, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. Master Jun has shown us something important. Perhaps instead of trying to make him join us, we should learn from him. What do you suggest? Asked the lead official. An exchange program, Sunmi said. Students from across the galaxy could go to Earth to learn martial arts, and human teachers could visit other worlds to share their knowledge. Jun smiled for the first time that day. That is a good idea. A true exchange of wisdom, not just technology. The officials talked among themselves, then nodded in agreement. We will arrange it. Later that day, Jun packed his few belongings. His ship would leave for Earth the next morning. Taehyun, Do-hyun, and Sunmi came to say goodbye. Will you come back to visit us? Asked Taehyun. Perhaps, Jun said. But first, I think some of you will visit Earth. Sunmi held out a datapad. I've updated the Dominion's official assessment of humans. Would you like to see it? Jun took the pad and read. Though humans lack the technological advantages of most spacefaring species, they possess something potentially more valuable. Traditions of combat that emphasize the development of mind and body in harmony, making them unpredictable and adaptable in ways our most advanced systems cannot replicate. The human martial artist stands as evidence that sometimes the most dangerous fighter isn't the one with the most advanced weapons. It's the one who has mastered themselves. Jun handed the pad back with a nod. A fair assessment. You've changed how the galaxy sees humans, Do-hyun said. Before, they thought of humans as weak. Now they will think twice. That was not my goal, Jun said, but perhaps it is a good result. That night, Jun stood by the window in his room. He could see Earth from here, a small blue dot among countless stars. Master, Taeyun said from the doorway, the news channels want one last interview before you leave. What do they want to know? Jun asked. They want to know if you have a message for the galaxy, Taeyun replied. Jun thought for a moment. Tell them this. True strength comes from within. Technology can make us powerful, but wisdom makes us strong. Humans have always known this. Now the galaxy knows it too. The next morning, as Jun's ship prepared to leave, hundreds of people gathered to see him off. Many bowed as he passed, showing a respect that no human had received before. As the ship lifted off, Sumi stood with the other officials. Do you think he knows how much he has changed things? One official asked. Yes, Sumi replied. That's why he's going home. His work here is done. The ship disappeared into the stars, carrying the most dangerous fighter in the universe back to Earth, a human martial artist who had changed the galaxy without firing a single shot.